Hi guys, and welcome to another chess game analysis video. And today I'm bringing you just an historic game, a game that ended in such a unique way that I'm sure it will just stand forever. It was a game played in 1991 by two really strong grandmasters, Nigel Short and Jan Timman, respectively, with white and black. The game started with e4, and we have knight to f6. The Alekhines defense, or Alekhines defense, however you want to say it. We have e5, knight to d5, and d4. White just establishes his presence in the center with pawns, while black will eventually challenge it with breaks such as d6, c5, and so on, usually. In the game, we have exactly that. We have d6, and we have knight f3 by Nigel, just reinforcing the center, developing the knight. So far, nothing too extraordinary. And Jan replies with g6. He tries developing his bishop to g7 with the same theme of trying to undermine and break White's pawn chain. In the game, Nigel develops his bishop. He plays bishop to c4, hitting Jan's knight. He simply retreats it. We have bishop to b6, also attacking the bishop. We have bishop to b3, and now simply bishop to g7. Now we have queen to e2, just reinforcing this pawn and saying that we'll have an attacking game because even if the pawns are to be traded, there's never going to be a trade of queens. So in the game, we have knight to c6. Jan just develops his knight, puts pressure on the d4 pawn, and white castles in this position. Now this is sort of a provocative move because in this position, Jan could develop his usually very bad bishop on c8 to d4, pinning White's knight to the queen. And this knight is basically carrying White's center, right? Is basically defending the baseline. So if this knight is to fall, especially for such a bad bishop, White is going to have a great game. However, there's a slight detail that in this position, White would have this very cool bishop takes f7. Because if the king were to take, you could just play knight to g5, and yeah, whatever the king moves, you just take the bishop, and White just has an incredibly easy game. So, in view of this, instead of bishop to g4, Black simply castles, and now indeed he's threatening bishop to g4, so Nigel just calmly plays h3, basically the best move in this position, and yeah, Jan decides to gain some space in the queen side. He goes for a5, threatening to go a4 and really misplacing White's bishop. So instead, Nigel goes a4 himself. Really, nothing too extraordinary. Also gains some space in the queen side, so all is well. Today's Black decides to solve the tension in the center, and we have a lot of trades. We have d takes e5, d takes e5, and now knight to d4, really eating everything. So another trade is forced. We have knight takes on d4, queen takes on d4, and now this pawn is being hit twice, so we have rook e1 defending. And now, if you take a look at Black's position, he still has a couple problems to solve. Basically, these pieces aren't really doing anything. So first, Jan decides to develop his knight. And in this position, Jan would really like to go knight d5, maybe hoping to go to b4 or f4 one day. However, this isn't really possible because, I mean, White would just play rook d1, and after the queen moves, he just pick up a knight, and what the hell is Black doing? Obviously, Jan saw this, and instead he played d6. Now, indeed, he's preparing this knight d5 idea. And so, Nigel just keeps on developing. He plays knight d2, maybe with the idea of going knight f3. Indeed, we have knight to d5, and indeed, we have knight f3. The queen is dislodged from this central square. We have queen to c5, and now we have queen to e4 by Nigel. And this is a very interesting move because it comes with just a simple barbaric idea. The guy just wants to shift all his pieces towards the king side and perhaps set up a deadly attack. Because as an example, if you were able to bring your queen to h4, your bishop to h6, trade these bishops and bring the knight to g5, hitting the weak h7 square, then yeah, the rook would just be powerless, and yeah, black would just really have serious problems there. And in view of this, black just plays queen to b4, just trying to get a queen trade and getting rid of all this nonsense, really. However, while doing this, he just sang a pawn, because if the knight is to be captured, you just take and take. You win a pawn, right? However, after something like bishop to d6, the queen moves, and rook a to d8. Take a look at this. Like 3 or 4 moves ago, black was just suffocating, struggling to develop, and now basically almost all of his pieces are active. And yeah, sure, white might be up a pawn, but from a human standpoint, it's probably way easier to play as black. And so instead, Nigel wasn't greedy, and he played bishop to c4, just shutting down this line of the trade. And yeah, now he has the same ideas, really. However, Jan obviously doesn't make it that easy. He offers some resistance, and he goes knight b6, putting pressure on the bishop, and really wanting to make this trade happen if the bishop were to move, right? So Nigel doesn't move the bishop. Instead, he reinforces it. He plays b3, also with the threat of perhaps going bishop a3 and winning the rook. Jan indeed does the trade, and now this is a serious threat. So Jan just sidesteps this rook and plays rook to e8. Now, rook to d8 at first sight might seem a little better. However, because right, you go to an open file. However, after bishop to d5, the rook cannot go anywhere on this file except to the d7 square. But now you just look at this bishop, right? He cannot go this way because the rook would be hanging, and now he cannot go the other way. It's just a sad bishop, really. So instead, we have rook to e8, and now white occupies the file himself, right? He has nothing to lose, and by occupying the file, he also restricts the bishop from coming out. So yeah, whatever black played, he really always has problems with his white square bishop, and really is always the team of the game. In the game, black cannot really do anything in this position, so he plays queen to c5, perhaps stacking some pressure on this pawn, and yeah, white just completely ignores it and starts going for the plan I talked about previously. He goes queen to h4, and will try to bring his pieces and murder black's king, really. Now that the queen has left the e4 square, though, the rook is no longer hanging after b6, and Jan finally tries to address his white square bishop problem. However, it's getting a bit too late. I mean, in the game, Nigel played an intermediate move. Instead of going bishop h6, he went first bishop to e3. And in the game, we have queen to c6. And the problem with queen to c6 is that he left this diagonal. So now the the black queen will have a really hard time to come back to either king if he needs to. So it's kind of misplaced in this diagonal. Sure, black might align a battery on this diagonal, but it would be probably better if you went to f8. And so now we have bishop to h6, and there's no queen f8 to reinforce black's defense around this king. So yeah, this is basically black's last defender, and white is threatening to eliminate it. So black just retreats it to the h8 square. However, this allows white to jump in and infiltrate. We have rook to d8. Black finally resolves this problem with the white square bishop. I don't know, it's a bit too late because we have rook 8 to d8 and white really cannot do anything. Look at how passive black pieces are, right? Obviously, you can take because if you were to take, you just get mated, right? This bishop just doing the MVP job of cutting black king off. And now if black isn't careful and let's say passes the move, queen e7 is a serious threat because he's threatening to take this rook, and after takes, this rook comes in and well, we just get mated, right? Because again of this bishop. So black is just completely restrained. In the game, he went back to g7 with his bishop to solve again the background problems. However, white calmly plays rook from 8 to d7, and again just such a great move because the bishop cannot be taken. Otherwise, do you really want to face like a rook, two rooks and a queen against your king with no defenders? It's probably not a good idea. And he's threatening to take the bishop, and let's say like a silly move to take the bishop and bring the queen, and yeah, just mate your king this way. So to this, black replies with rook f8, defending this f7 base point. And now after a trade of bishops, black's last resort is perhaps going queen e4, going for a queen trade, and yeah, just fizzling white's attack. However, to this, white simply plays the amazing rook 1 to d4. Like, this game is a perfect example of just a simple plan can get you so far. Like, how white has done in this game is attack black's king while stopping black's defenses. And sure, this is obviously a bit easier said than done, but still, we have rook 1 to d4, stopping queen e4. And now, just black is completely paralyzed. In the game, it just plays rook a to e8, perhaps stopping the doubling of the rooks on the 7th rank. However, the queen finally gets in. We have queen to f6, we have king to g8. Now white just goes h4, and really just wants to put a pawn on h6, and the pawn obviously couldn't be taken because you just open everything up. So to this, black plays h5, and how is white crashing through? Sure, like as you see, the bar took a dip. However, Stockfish doesn't realize the complications of this position because the position is set for one of the most brilliant endings a chess game has ever seen. You have king to h2, which Stockfish puts as a blunder, but is actually the beginning of a brilliancy. Because now all black can do is shuffle his pieces back and forth, and the king is just marching in, and there's nothing black can do to stop it. So yeah, we have a back and forth with the rook, and yeah, the king continues his amazing march. He's just like, okay, yeah, you guys are useless. You can't finish the job. I'll just finish it myself. We have bishop to c8, attacking the rook. However, now it's too little too late. We have king to g5. The king is gonna manage himself to the h6 square and yeah, do the job the pawn was supposed to. And yeah, obviously if the rook is taken, we have king to h6. This mate is unstoppable. And if you stop king to h6 with king to h7, you're no longer defending the f7 square, and you're getting mated this way. So there's really no saving grace for this king. And yeah, after king to g5, black actually resigned. So yeah, just a really unique way to win a chess game that you just really can't find anywhere. And yeah, if you guys liked, please consider liking and or subscribing. It really does make a lot of difference. And yeah, see you guys on the next.